Part 2 on how I found out my sugar daddy and my best friend were sleeping together. Let's name my sugar daddy Tom. Let's name my friend that was texting my sugar daddy Maria, and my other friend Linda. Linda and I were text messaging Maria to see where she was. She wouldn't answer our calls or our text messages. Linda said, "What if Maria and Tom are together?" Because she knew I found out that they were texting. I didn't pay much attention to that and just went on with my day. Later that night, I was going to sleep over my friend's house, so we were walking from my house to her house. From Linda's house, we could see Maria's house, and we saw my sugar daddy's car parked outside her house. Then we saw her getting out of the car and going in her house. Next day, we asked her where she was, and she said that she was with some friends. So since she lied to us, we confronted her. She denied the whole thing, said that we were crazy, even though we saw her. Follow for part 3.
Okay, story time. So I work at a jewelry store, and today a man came in looking for a gift for his wife for their 10th year anniversary. He ended up picking out a piece that said, "My beautiful wife." And I said, "Anything else for you today?" And he said, "No, that's it for her, but I do want to make another purchase using a separate credit card. And could you possibly create a different account for me?" And I said, "Sure, what are you looking for?" And he said, "Do you have anything that says girlfriend?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Perfect, I'll take it. And do you have anything that says happy 1-year anniversary to go with it?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Perfect, I'll take it." So I boxed everything up all nice and I put them in their respected bags. He had me mark a K for Kristen on the bottom of his wife's bag and an L for Laura on the bottom of his girlfriend's bag. I put pretty bows on them. I handed it to him. I said, "They're gonna love it. Have a nice day." And he said, "Thank you." And shit, I just remembered that his wife's name is Laura and his girlfriend's name is Kristen. I must have mixed up the bags. Oops.
Ex-boyfriend story time. So one of his family friends was this girl that, let's just say, I wasn't the biggest fan of, purely because this girl was completely fine with me until she found out that I was his girlfriend. Suddenly she hated me. Throughout our 2-year relationship, she would just make ridiculous comments all the time, like just make me feel like shit a lot of the time, like made it pretty obvious that she did not like me. And to be honest, I didn't care less. But obviously he was always like, "She doesn't mean it like that, it's not that bad, no, no, no." Then one day she got a job abroad, so we were having a bon voyage party, I don't know what you call them, bye, good luck on your future endeavours party. He said I didn't have to go because he knew how I felt, but I was like, fuck yes, I'm celebrating this bitch moving to a different country. I'm in. He was a musician and his parents had asked him to write a song to perform at this girl's party. I told him that I wasn't particularly comfortable with it, writing a song about somebody that I don't particularly like and who clearly has a thing for you. He said that was fine and that he understood. Come back for a part 2.
When I was a freshman in college, I went in to get an ultrasound on my ribs because they hurt in a weird way. And I went in for the ultrasound and the tech said, "Please face the wall so I can do the ultrasounds." And I said, "Okay." And then I felt a weird hot liquid spilling down my stomach, but I figured it was probably just the stuff. But then I heard a really big crash and a really big liquid spill, and I looked over and she wasn't there anymore. And I said, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, are you okay?" And she handed me a towel because it wasn't ultrasound jelly she had spilled on my stomach. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. She had vomited on me.
Part 3. After that day, she wouldn't hang out with us anymore. A few weeks go by and I'm texting and calling my sugar daddy and he won't answer. So I called him from a private number. And when he answered, I asked him what was going on. He said, "I know everything." I asked him about what. He said that Maria told him that I was talking to someone and that I was sleeping with someone else. But I didn't really care, so we just stopped talking. Then I found out he got her a condo and they moved in together. One day I received a call from him saying that he misses me and that he wants to get back with me. And I obviously said no. And about a year after that, he was bankrupt, lost all his money, didn't have where to live, and had to move into her mom's house with her. Karma's a bitch.
What is your preferred way to go? If you had to die tomorrow, how would you do it? Can I tell you mine? I thought about it. So I have a wedding, I fall in love, and everybody's like, how did she do it? Like, this guy's amazing. And everybody's super jealous. And I charge $150 for the tickets to my wedding, which takes place on a cliff in Malibu. It's an hour late, and I'm still not there yet. And people are like, what the f is going on? They see a helicopter towing a woman in a white dress, and it's a stunt double that I hired, and she falls into the ocean, and everybody thinks I'm dead. Cue a second helicopter that comes in, and I'm hanging from it, but I die for real.
And they're like, oh, it's her pulling it, now they're stunned.
Yeah, and then they wait an hour to figure out that I've died.
Yeah.
And they have to go home just disappointed.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A junior in high school was home alone working on a paper while his parents were out to dinner. All night he sits with his back to his door, sitting at his desk with his noise-canceling headphones on. Around 11 o'clock, he takes his headphones off at the same time his parents are returning to the house, and he hears his mom from downstairs yell, "Hey Adrian, what happened?" Confused, he runs downstairs and sees right away what she's looking at. Muddy footprints all over the rug. He tells her, "I didn't leave my desk." And then they realize someone must have broken in. They look at the footprints and there's none leaving the house. They're worried someone's still in the house, so they run into the garage, terrified, call the police. Police arrive and they don't find anyone in the house, but they do make a chilling discovery upstairs. The police bring them to the kid's bedroom door, which had been left open all night, and they point to the message written on it in Sharpie. This is the actual transcript of what was written on his door, which means for nearly 2 hours, someone stood in this kid's doorway watching him.
One day our class went on a field trip to a horse riding ranch. The horse girl named Susie Higglebottom started spazzing from excitement and used her lunch money to pay for the trip that day. I got my shit ready and got on the bus and we were on our way to the ranch. We got off and saw all these beautiful horses and Susie Higglebottom kept telling the instructor to shut up and she was lecturing us about every horse. She was telling us to follow her but we didn't and we were following the tour guide. She started getting mad and she got on one of the horses. The tour guide started yelling at her because she got on one of the sick horses and she was saying that she's got this and we don't have to worry. She looked confused and got off the horse and walked behind it, bending down and started looking at its leg. Next thing you know the horse's fat ass erupted and dropped a ton of flaming hot shit on Susie Higglebottom's head. The force of the shit made her head slam on the ground and there was steam coming out of the shit. Her hair started falling out in chunks and her front tooth was broken and there was a dent in her head from the force of the shit. The shit smelled so bad it was like the horse ate its own shit, then shit the shit and ate the shit while shitting, then ate the shit that he shitted while shitting on the shit that the shit shitted. She got up and turned around to face everyone and there was that much shit on her she looked like Bigfoot. We were calling her Sasquatch Susie the whole ride back. It turns out the horse had bowel cancer.
When I was 13 years old, I went to buy my first pair of sexy underwear. And of course I splashed out because I went to Primark and they were only £1. As I left Primark, I walked into the shopping centre and there was a group of 17-year-old boys and they were really fit. So I tried to strut and show off and then I fell over. My bags went flying and thongs went all over the floor. And an old man came and helped me pick them up. And as I gathered myself to leave, one of the fit boys tapped me on the shoulder. And he said, "You missed one," and handed me a lacy thong.
This is why you should never leave the table when you're on a blind date. One of my best friends and I worked at the same restaurant. When I came in later that day for my shift, she told me a crazy story. She said that her first table were this guy and this girl and she could tell they were on a first date. The girl was nervous, so she ordered a glass of wine. As far as she knew, the date seemed to be going well and the girl got up to go to the bathroom. Right when my friend was about to come over and bring the silverware, she saw him put something in her wine. My friend, obviously terrified and freaking out, let our manager know, who then let the police know, and ran into the bathroom to tell her what was going on. The girl ended up staying in the bathroom until the police came, arrested him, and escorted him out of the building. It was noon on a Tuesday. You don't think you're going to be drugged at noon on a Tuesday.
When I was 13 years old, I went to buy my first pair of sexy underwear. And of course I splashed out because I went to Primark and they were only £1. As I left Primark, I walked into the shopping centre and there was a group of 17-year-old boys and they were really fit. So I tried to strut and show off and then I fell over. My bags went flying and thongs went all over the floor. And an old man came and helped me pick them up. And as I gathered myself to leave, one of the fit boys tapped me on the shoulder. And he said, "You missed one," and handed me a lacy thong.
In middle school I had this bully, Kevin, and he was a dick. He came up with this horrible nickname for me in 7th grade. My name's Lydia, and Kevin would call me Lydia Chlamydia. In 7th grade, I didn't even know what chlamydia was, but I knew it wasn't good. And not only did Kevin call me that, but he got other kids to start calling me Lydia Chlamydia too. But luckily the nickname only lasted a year. By 8th grade, everyone had forgotten about it. Except for me, I never forgot. And all through high school, I was paranoid that someone would remember the nickname and start calling me Lydia Chlamydia again. So fast forward like 13 years. It's Friday night and I'm out at a bar in LA. I'm ordering a tequila soda, extra lime, and I feel someone tap me on the shoulder. And I turn around and lo and behold, it's Kevin. He's like, hey Lydia, you remember me? We used to go to middle school together. I called you Lydia Chlamydia. I was like, yes I do, Kevin. He's like, you know, I'm really sorry about that and I'm a little tipsy right now and I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but my senior year of college, I ended up actually getting chlamydia and it's crazy because I thought of you. Anyway, long story short, I ended up taking Kevin home with me because there is nothing that turns me on more than hearing about a bully that is ass handed to him by karma.
One day this random guy added me on Snapchat. I added him just because you really never know. It could be my soulmate or something. Like, we're gonna call him motherfucking Larry. So right when I added Larry, he sent me a snap. Oh, this is the best part. Just wait, sweetie. So it was a photo of the wall with pictures of me, baby pictures of me, even a picture of my cat with like tiny post-its all around it. And in the caption, he was like, I manifested you, you cannot leave anymore. I was kind of scared, so I blocked him. And I remember I left to my grandma's house because I was just really scared to even be in my own house. And so the next morning of me staying at my grandma's house, we got mailed this like big box with like confetti in it. And there was this envelope and I remember the envelope was like, hey, it's Larry. I told you cannot leave. And my family's number was there, our address was there, and a bottle of pepper spray.
So I go to college and I have the worst job on campus. I'm an RA on campus. And one time at 4:30 in the morning, I get a knock on my door and someone says to me, there's a kid dead in the bathroom. And I said, dead in the bathroom? And he goes, dead in the bathroom. And I said, oh my God. So I walk down the hall and they show me this kid and he looks like he's dead in the bathroom. And so I called the cops and said, hey, there's a kid dead in the bathroom. And the cops show up, and then the kid wakes up, and he starts throwing up violently all over the place. And the cop says, we should call an ambulance. And then the kid says, don't call the ambulance. And I said, we should really call the ambulance. And we didn't call the ambulance. And then the kid gets into a fight with the cop, and the cop gives him a hearing notice. And then the kid tears up the hearing notice in front of the cop. And this happened at 4:30 in the morning.
This is why you should never leave the table when you're on a blind date. One of my best friends and I worked at the same restaurant. When I came in later that day for my shift, she told me a crazy story. She said that her first table were this guy and this girl, and she could tell they were on a first date. The girl was nervous, so she ordered a glass of wine. As far as she knew, the date seemed to be going well, and the girl got up to go to the bathroom. Right when my friend was about to come over and bring the silverware, she saw him put something in her wine. My friend, obviously terrified and freaking out, let our manager know, who then let the police know, and ran into the bathroom to tell her what was going on. The girl ended up staying in the bathroom until the police came, arrested him, and escorted him out of the building. It was noon on a Tuesday. You don't think you're going to be drugged at noon on a Tuesday.
Hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. It does help support us, and lets know what videos you guys want to see.